Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Erica Angel. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. I missed you. Today, I'm going to be reading stories that you guys sent me. Huge thanks to you if you sent over a story. Remember, if you haven't, feel free to comment down below or DM me your story on Instagram. I know so many of you love to hear these stories because they are true stories and there's nothing better than that. So make sure you grab your snacks, get cozy, and get ready for today's stories. This first story says, "Hi Erica, I like watching your videos. You're so funny. Thank you. Hope you get to see my story. It all started since I was very little. My mom tells me since I was about 10 months. I started talking a few words and one of them being kukui. That I would point and say kukui like out of nowhere, and my parents would be like, what the heck? We don't teach her that. As I grew up, I always have seen shadows, heard noises and stuff, but I always tried to ignore it. When I was about 5, my parents started attending a Christian church. Well, they really got into church, and that's when weirder things would happen randomly at my house. The blender would turn on by itself, the microwave as well. I remember one day I was about 7 years old. We were having dinner at home, together as a family, and we started to hear chain noises coming from the hallway. Like if someone was dragging chains. We all stayed quiet. My dad said a prayer and it stopped, but it really did freak us out a little. In another occasion, I was about 9 years old and I used to share a room with my little sister. We used to like to play with my mom's high heels and we left them there by our bunk beds and went to sleep. Well, for some reason, I couldn't sleep and I felt scared. So I left the restroom light on and closed the door more than halfway so it wouldn't be too bright either. But I still felt scared. I remember covering myself all at once, and I did that a few seconds later. I started hearing someone walking in high heels around my room, and I didn't have carpet. It was piso. Let me find out, the spirit was walking around como Pedro por su casa in your mom's high heels. The audacity. And then it says, and I started freaking out inside of me, but I also felt like I was paralyzed. I couldn't move or scream out to my parents, which were in the other side of the house. I was like that for a few minutes when I felt something grab my ankle and squished hard. That freaked me out so bad. I screamed. I jumped down because I was in the top bunk bed and my little sister was asleep. I literally got her arm and told her, come on, let's go to my mom's room. We ran and woke up my parents. They let us sleep in their room. My dad went to check, but he said he didn't hear or see anything. And well, stuff still happens, but it's not as often as before. Since I got married back in 2014, I stopped for a while. I sometimes still get a feeling something is watching or I hear noises, but I try to ignore it. I am happy you're doing so much better now and that you don't get that feeling as often. Also, the fact that the blender would turn on randomly, that's so terrifying because si de por sí, a mí me da miedo la blender. Like when I turn it on, I'm like, it's like I turn it on and I back away. I don't know if I'm the only weird one. Me da miedo, I guess, the noise. But just imagine it being so quiet, you're home alone, and then the blender just turns on. That's terrifying. I had a cousin in Mexico that would play the Ouija board with her friends at school without her mom knowing. One day, my aunt started to notice that someone was following her around. So one day, she decided to keep an eye on her while she slept. And she saw a scary looking man in a suit sitting next to her bed watching her sleep. This continued to happen for a while. Then one day her sister was outside en la banqueta with her boyfriend chanceando, como dicen en Mexico. She said her and her boyfriend saw my cousin walking in the house. They said hi to her and she didn't respond or even turn to look at them. Solo dejaron pasar. Pasaron como 3 segundos cuando ven otra vez a mi prima entrar por la misma puerta. Algo que no era posible. No era posible porque no había otra manera de salir de la casa. Solo esa puerta. Y la acaban de ver entrar. Le dijeron, hey, ¿qué estás haciendo? Te acabamos de ver que entraste por donde saliste. Y mi prima dijo que no, que ella venía llegando a la casa porque estaba en casa de su amiga. That freaked them out, so she told my aunt. And that's when my aunt decided that she had seen enough. So they took her a curar con un brujo. Y el brujo le dijo que cuando jugó la Ouija, ella abrió un portal. Y el hombre que ella la seguía era un muerto que quería su alma. Why is it always the primas that play the Ouija board? Because I have a prima that was playing the Ouija board too, and también they had to give her like a cleanse. I heard something about that her bed was jumping like in the fucking Exorcist movie, and then something about their family dog that was acting weird. She would wake up with the dog growling in her face. I'm just like, dude, they are always bringing shit to the tia's house. I will never play the Ouija board. And that's why you guys shouldn't either. Porque nomás se van a meter en pedos. Y van a meter a su familia en pedos también. And we don't want that. We're good. Hey Erica, I saw that you were doing a video over the scary things we have experienced. And well, here is mine. Thank you. It all started when I was around 10ish or 11, between there. I had went with a tia to go visit one of her close family friends in the Bay Area. We got to her house and it was kinda like a duplex house, so we actually didn't know which one of both was her house. And her friend wouldn't pick up the phone. So we go knock at one of the doors and we noticed a black bow. Didn't think much of it and continued to knock. Nobody would answer. So we twisted the door to see if it would open. It opened. The first thing I saw was a big circle with a star in the middle. Around the star, there was lit up candles. And there was also a Santa Muerte. Only my tia and I glanced at what was inside. And when I tell you, I felt something so bad the moment I saw everything. Turns out, someone had passed away. Y dizque lo estaban velando. But like that, pretty weird. A couple of months go by and now we are living in a different house. Ever since I saw the whole exorcism layout pretty much, I started getting super bad sleep paralysis. And I would hear and see things. So there was this one night where I was asleep and I started to feel that I was going to get sleep paralysis. The way that I know it'll start is because I usually hear bottles crackling in my ear or as if I was underwater. So as soon as I started to hear the bottles, I quickly start moving my toes as much as I can so it can wake me up. But this time I had no luck. I couldn't move, but I could see. I looked straight to my bedroom door and I saw what I had thought was my tío. He was facing the door so I couldn't see his face, only the back of him. He had his tejana on, su camisa de vestir, sus pantalones de vestir, and even his avestruz botas on. When I realized that there was no way that could be my uncle, I started trying to move my toes again, and then my uncle started to laugh and slowly walk back towards me. At this point, I felt myself sweating de tanto que estaba tratando to move my toes and to get up. And then, all of a sudden, he runs to me and I wake up fully. I cried as soon as I woke up It was horrible. My tío had passed away a month prior, and we were really close growing up, but I knew he would never come back to visit me and scare me. So whatever that was, it wasn't him. It's so scary how a lot of these stories that I've been reading, they're about doppelgangers, because in the other story, they thought they had seen La Prima, remember? And it wasn't her. Y ahora en esta historia, ella pensó que era su tío, pero no era. This next story, I just read that it happened at New Orleans. And, dude, that place, I really want to go, but I've heard that there's some streets, tipo que hasta deberías de tener cuidado caminando por esas calles, porque hay muchos espíritus malos y se te pegan. Y sí, todavía quiero ir. Soy una culona y me da miedo, pero todavía quiero ir. Okay, this happened at a New Orleans bar. I went upstairs to go use the bathroom, and a lady in a dress pushed the door back as soon as I opened it. I applied and proceeded to wait. A guy walked out of the men's bathroom, and I had to pee so bad that I almost went. I went downstairs and told my boyfriend at the time that the lady was taking so long. I walked back upstairs, and the man said no one has walked in the bathroom. So I checked it one more time, and it was empty. I was so freaking scared. The guy at the bar working there came up to me and asked me what was wrong, because he overheard me talking about it. He said, "Wait, what happened?" Then he grabbed a book about the most haunted place in New Orleans, and the bar had its own chapter. The Johnny White's Bar. Tell me why. I read it, and that has happened to other people. A woman in a Renaissance dress still haunts the bar. Till this day, I cannot believe that happened to me. Oh my god, baby, I am so sorry. That is fucking crazy. I wouldn't be able to believe it, and ay no, dude, me imagino con ganas de ir al baño, and then you open the door and like a señora pushing it. Oh, fuck no. And the whole Renaissance dress thing, that's fucking scary. Every time that I hear about spirits haunting a place dressed up like the old days, I feel like that just makes it a million times scarier. The church I used to go to would give free memorial service para que la gente pudiera velar a sus seres queridos privately. It was very sad because a lot of times they were women, children, and I remember seeing memorials for a few babies. A few members would go just to supervise and clean up afterwards the services were done. Usually, the caskets stay there for the whole night until the next day for the burial. Un día, un señor de nuestra iglesia fue a cerrar y poner la alarma de seguridad después de que había acabado un servicio. Cuando cerró la iglesia, nos quedamos hablando. Uno de los miembros de la iglesia, y pues el mismo señor que cerró, dijo que vio como una sombra en forma de humano pasar por la ventana desde adentro de la iglesia. He thought someone from the service probably got locked in, but that didn't make sense because any movement from inside the church would set off the alarms, and the alarms did not go off. El señor volvió a entrar y revisó toda la iglesia de nuevo y no había nadie, just the casket of the deceased person. Hay diferentes miembros de esa iglesia que igual han tenido experiencias de sentir una presencia. That church had a lot of funeral memorial services there, and I know for sure there's still spirits lingering there. I cannot imagine what that person felt cuando fue a chequear a ver quién estaba dentro de la iglesia y era nomás el cuerpo. Imagine the person got up and walked. Sometimes when people are already dead, sometimes they tend to get up. Like en pleno funeral se paran, but like not all the way up. They sit down in the casket. I feel like That would be so freaking traumatizing. I'm pretty sure that when that happens, everyone's traumatized. But that señor literally saw someone walking. Quién sabe quién era? It could have been that person in the casket or somebody else or something else. Alright guys, this is it for today's video. If you liked it, make sure you give me a thumbs up down below. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to turn on your notifications so you can get notified for the next time I post. Follow me in all my social medias, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!